Good evening, folks. See a few there are pointing out that I'm a little late. It's always good to wait. It's always good to wait and see if more of you kind of filter in. So, yeah, that's what I always do. I always leave it a few minutes, make sure that people get the notification, and then kick things off. But good to see you all. 37 of you sat here at the moment waiting. Thank you so much for joining me on this Christmas Eve. Did my presents tonight. That was exciting. My wife got me a Fog double LP picture disc, which I've been wanting for a while, and where she found it, I've no idea, but that was a really nice surprise. One of the presents I got this evening, amongst other things as well. So yeah, we opened them early this year, just because we're going away. Well, we're having friends for Christmas, and yeah, it's one of those things that we kind of do beforehand. So people that we're staying with don't do presents, so they do Christmas, but just not presents. So I thought I'd just do a little Q&A, just because I haven't really done a Q&A. All my shows tend to be themed, votes or something along those lines, you know, voting shows, or as we're going to see next year, the Room 666. Second episode is being recorded on the 28th, I think, of this month. My second guest has been ill for some time, Barry from Wolfman's Got Nards, and he's feeling a little better now, feeling a little more up to it, so we're going to record it this... I lose all track of days over Christmas. I can't remember what day it is, but the 28th anyway. So that's going to be fun. That's going to be fun. He's got some great films to talk about. I've also got some other things in the pipeline as well. And yeah, there should be a fair bit of content over Christmas as we head into the new year. So look out for that. I'm working hard on the next Slasher episode at the moment. That's going really well. Can't wait to share that with you. And I have some more ideas for some more tiers as well, which I'm thinking about doing in January. So plenty of stuff to for you guys to enjoy. Let's see who's in the chat. 45 of you here at the moment. 2 or 3 of you moaning that I was 5 minutes late. I love seeing all these comments in the chat here. And I love Brandon's comment as well. A wizard is never late. He arrives precisely when he means to. I don't mean called a wizard. That's all right. James, the England cricket team are a horror show at the moment. They interesting, because yeah, a friend of mine's gone down there. He went down, I think about a week ago, and he's staying for 3.5 weeks. Yeah, it's not going to be too good for him, I don't think. Tony Four Eyes is here. Teal Kit's here. Chester's here. Rob McGregor's here. Jaboni66 says, Darren, I snuck out of work early to join live. Keep it between us. That's great. Thank you very much. Don't blame me, though. Tony Four Eyes says, excuses. Myers fans say, hey, Andrew. Hope your pizza and chips is going well. I saw the picture. Neil says, sorry I have to leave early, and wishing Darren and everyone a wonderful holiday filled with laughter and joy. Thank you, Neil. Happy Christmas to you. Who owns their presents on the 23rd? Well, it was a kind of, you know, because we're guests of somebody for Christmas Eve. We didn't want to take the presents with us, so we did them tonight because we'll probably be driving tomorrow. So that's how it goes. Michael Dammett's here. Hey, Michael, I haven't seen you for a little while. Good to see you. Daz says, would the Fog soundtrack now be in your top 10? Did I not put it in there anyway? I can't remember. No, Nigel did, didn't he? It would. The vinyl is beautiful. You get one green disc, one white disc. It looks incredible. So, yeah. What a lovely treat. Darren just can't be bothered to wrap any presents. If only you knew. If only you knew. So, yeah, folks, pop your pop your questions in the chat. I've already got a bunch of them of questions submitted at the that were on the YouTube community. So I'll fire a few of those off to begin with. Simon says, if you could bring one director/actor back to life to star and direct in one movie only, who would it be? Wow. I didn't read these before I came on, so I should have done perhaps and given that one a bit more thought. Simon, I'm going to come back to that one. Interesting. I tell you what, I would like to bring back Richard Donner and Christopher Reeve to do an aging Superman movie. There you go. That would be it. Jordan Moran says, what film releases on Blu-ray 4K are you looking forward to in 2026? I would say The Day of the Dead 4K that Scream Factory announced. I'm really looking forward to that. Hoping that Second Sight do one that's going to sit alongside the Dawn of the Dead that they did. I know Nigel mentioned that on the stream that we did the other day. I'm hoping that Disney pull their fingers out and do a Fly 40th anniversary for next year. A 4K of The Fly. And also, I want to see somebody like Arrow or Second Sight do a Descent in 4K. Because The Descent was done in 4K by Lionsgate recently in the US, and it just went like that. It just sold out straight away. And I didn't manage to get my hands on one. And I know they're going for a fortune on eBay. So I'd like to see a UK release of The Descent. That would be pretty cool. Pretty cool. And then he says, what are the 3 movies you want to see released in all their bells and whistles glory on physical media? Okay. Again, caught up in all the kind of Disney, Fox nonsense. I would like to... Well, actually, these aren't Fox. These are Disney. But The Fly is. The Fly, I'm guessing why we haven't seen The Fly up until now is because, Disney aren't really putting out 4Ks. They just do them few and far between. But I would like to see all those 90s action pictures that we still haven't got yet in 4K. Like Con Air, The Rock, Armageddon. Yep, I do as a guilty pleasure of mine. Crimson Tide. Haven't seen that yet in 4K. So those are the ones that I really want them to maybe Face Off as well. Is there a Face Off 4K? I'm not sure there is. So I'd like to see those done in 4K. I think that would be pretty cool. Let's see what else we have here. Kingslayer says, what are your thoughts on the Avatar movies? Do you like them, hate them, or don't care, or just wish James Cameron would move on and make something else? I do wish he would move on and make something else. I don't hate the films. I'm not a massive fan. I have seen the first 2. And I'm just kind of fair, I'm okay with them. I've never watched them since I saw them. And I am going to see the third one in between Christmas and New Year, just to tick a box. But I know Dave did a video the other night. He absolutely adores them. And that's great. I'm not one of these people who hates on movies. But I would like to see him. And I think he wants to do something else now. From all the interviews that I've been seeing of James Cameron, he wants to do something different. And he keeps talking about a Terminator film. Whether he's just going to write that or whether he's going to write and direct it, I have no idea. But even that, I'm like, come on, dude, just move on. But if he were to do those Avatar 4 and 5, that's another 8 years of his life, and he's 71 now. So I personally think it's time now for him to just kind of leave this and do something else or hand it over. He said that I watched an interview with him the other day that said they want to try and figure out a way of AI being able to do a lot of the work, not the motion capture, but I guess a lot of the kind of the effects, visuals and things. But it's not quite there. That they would have to invent that. So we'll see. We'll see. Will Brunning says, hi, mate. Sadly can't make the live stream tonight, but going down memory lane, I'll always remember my first horror at a young age. My parents rented out Dead and Buried, good film, on Betamax back in the day. Obviously curious mind and all, I remember slipping it in that good old faithful Betamax. On rewatching it later date, still love the concept of it. Is the 4K version worth getting hold of? I couldn't tell you because I do own Dead and Buried, but I don't have the 4K. He says, you've probably been asked this already, but any hidden gem back in the day made an impression on you? Wow, that's a good question. Hidden gem that made an impression on me. I think at the time it was a fairly hidden gem, and it I think Phantasm was one of those films that not many. It's kind of a film that's kind of gotten its audience more over the years. But I remember seeing Phantasm when it first came out on VHS, and remember being really, taken in by it. I thought it was great fun. So I think Phantasm at the time, but in terms of hidden gems that I would still I don't consider it a hidden gem these days. Are there any that I think as well? The Sword and the Sorcerer was another one I think that not many people spoke about, but was a great little VHS film that I discovered, and I have that on 4K now. Again, that's probably found its audience over the years as well. But yeah, I think those two are the ones that I used to watch back on VHS that probably weren't mainstream movies at the time. You just see what else we've got here. So Myers Mad 316 says, can't make it down, but we'll catch up on Christmas Eve. My question is, why the fuck can't you admit Terminator is a slasher movie? Stop dodging it. He says, I'm just kidding. My actual question is, in your opinion, what is your favorite movie, horror or otherwise, of the past 25 years that you would class as a masterpiece, and why? For me, there is some real slim pickings. God, I miss the 70s and 80s. That's a tough one. You know what I'm going to pick? And I have it up there on 4K. And it was my favorite movie of last year. And it's not a horror. It's not an action film or anything like that. And you're all going to laugh at this now. I'm going to grab it. I'm going to grab it and show you. My favorite movie of last year was actually an animated movie that won the Oscar, and it was called Flow. And I thought it was absolutely incredible. And if you have seen this, you need to stick around for the end credits. It's a great movie. Don't go in there knowing anything about it or anything. Don't watch any trailers. Just watch it. It's absolutely mind-blowing. It really is. Fantastic little film. Okay, where are we now? That's the end of those questions. Let me have a look in the chat. Okay, let me see if you guys have dropped any questions. Yeah, I saw that this morning. Really, really sad news about Adam the Woo passing away. Met him briefly in LA at Doc Brown's house for a Q&A with Dean Cundy, and he was a lovely guy. I knew the only kind of knowledge I had of Adam the Woo was from Sean Clark's videos. I can't say that I watched his YouTube channel, but it's incredibly sad. A lot of sad things have happened over the past few weeks, particularly with YouTubers. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Tony Foreye says, I would have had the soundtrack for Zombie Flesh Eaters in my top 10. Yeah, I like the soundtrack to Zombie Flesh Eaters. Always kind of sounds like one of those Rolf Harris stylophone things, though. But it is good. It is good. Justin Grace Goodrich says, good evening, Darren. Which versions of the Halloween scores that you own is your favorite? 2. I really like 2. I think he did a great... I mean, I love the first one, but I think I get more enjoyment out of listening to 2 because it's got so... It feels so big, does the score for Halloween 2. He really kind of took it and made it his own, did Alan Howarth. It's a great score. It really is. I think it's terrific. So there's no getting away from the fact that the original Halloween's a great score. But in terms of what I listen to the most, I think it's Halloween 2. I think it has to be Halloween 2. Wordy Word says, how about that video nasty top tier ranking? Say maybe 10 from each section. Yeah, no, that's definitely one that I want to take a look at and see how we can do that. That would be fun. That would be really fun. Brett Patrick says, Darren, did you have to pay for that poster behind you? Which one? There's 3. The only one I paid for is Halloween 2. That's it. James says, 2 of my favorite faves were 28 Years Later and Weapons, 2 very divisive films. What 2 were yours? The Lost Bus, the Matthew McConaughey, Paul Greengrass film, I thought was incredible. I thought it was a really tense ride. Not many people have seen it because it's on Apple. But it's a great little, reminded me of, kind of, I love big disaster movies, and that's what it felt like to me. And when you got somebody like Paul Greengrass at the helm, he knows how to kind of craft great tension in movies, and I thought he did a great job on that film. And then I'm not going to say what my favorite horror film was, because I am going to do probably a top 10 of my favorite horrors of the year. So yeah, I'll do that before the end of the year, I think. Looking forward to that new Under Siege release. Yeah, I have it. It arrived probably about 4 or 5 days ago. Arrow seemed to have dispatched them really early. There's a few people doing reviews of them at the moment. I haven't had a chance to take a look at it. So I've been too busy watching the darts every day for the last 2 weeks now. It's been darts 8 hours a day. So I've been really getting caught up in that. In fact, I'm itching to know how Van Gerwen's getting on at the moment. I contemplated having a window up with the darts on at the side, but I thought, no, that would be rude if I'm just drifting off all the time looking at the other screen. Wigan Film Club says, we watched Avatar 3 recently and quite enjoyed it. Good, yeah. Those that enjoy the franchise seem to be really liking it. Most people seem to be favouring the second film, but it still seems to be fairly decent. Someone said something to me the other day, for all the bragging about them being a peaceful people, they always seem to be at war. James Cameron should make Piranha 3. That would be good. I'd be up for that. Why not? Hoping for Halloween 78 for our just cancelled the imprint. Yeah, I cancelled that imprint. I was really peeved off when they announced that they were going to 2,000 from 1,000 after everybody had bought theirs. I thought that was a bit of a cheap shot. Then when they delayed it, I thought, something's not right here. And so I cancelled it then, and it took me ages to get a refund. It took a month to get a refund. I had to email them 2 or 3 times to say, hey, what's going on here? And then eventually they say, we pumpkins are shit and they're going to burn down your house, and we've come up with this steel tin instead. I just thought, no, I felt sorry for them as well. I felt bad for them. Although, they should have created it, tested it, then done the pre-orders rather than, just jumping the gun like they did. And it's difficult for them because something like that can really, the comments underneath their post were just scathing, absolutely like vicious. Like, there's no point in getting so angry about these things. I know how you fucked with the wrong fan base. They really did. They really fucked with the wrong fan base on this one. But yeah, I was disappointed, but I would never put some of the things that some people put on that Facebook page. Let's have a look here. Darren, I'd like the first part of the soundtrack video you did with Nigel. Where did... Oh, I'm losing the... Hold on a minute. Where did he put H2 and H3 scores? Hope you're well. Oh, off the top of my head, Chester, I can't remember. You'd have to have a look, I think. You'd have to have a watch. Rick says Phantasm is my favorite horror film. It was such a great film to watch. I think it was like maybe the second or third horror film that I ever saw. It was Halloween, and I'm pretty sure it might have been the second. It was Halloween, then Phantasm. And for years, all I could remember was the guy's fingers getting chopped off in the door, and then the finger in the box, and the ball in the head, and yeah, it just, and the score as well on Phantasm's terrific. Tony, that sounds like a HDMI signature. Who had it with my projector? Oh, you talking tech in there? Darren is a 5-year-old. What, because I like a cartoon? It's a very adult cartoon. Not in that way, not like Fritz the Cat or anything like that. But it's a very mature cartoon, is that? It's not. I wouldn't say it was a kid's film. It's very sweet. But yeah, the messaging in it's superb. Mad Max Fury Road for me. What is it? Oh, in terms of one of your favorites over the last 25 years. Yeah, that's a great film. And that is one of the best. I mean, it's a racket, but the score for that film is terrific. Junkie XL, I think it was, wasn't it? Who did it? Terrific score. Good God. I mean, even like in the film when that truck's going down the street and you've got like that Slipknot band hanging off the side of it with the guitars and everything, and it just fits into the molds into the score perfectly. It's terrific. It really is. Brandon says, Darren, what is your top 5 films of the year, horror or otherwise? I'm not going to put them in any order, but as I said, Lost Bus, I Swear. If any of you have seen I Swear, that's a terrific movie. Sinners, Weapons, loved those two. Bring Her Back, I thought was amazing. Those are 5. Whether they'd be in the top 5, I don't know, but those are 5 that I haven't put my top 10 together yet, so I need to look at my letterbox and see what came earlier in the year that I really liked. Andrew says, I loaned my mate my Inside Blu-ray and he's literally just messaged to say that was fucked up. It is, in a good way. Christine Soundtrack 2 bought an original from HMV back in the day. Cool. Disclosure Day, excited as I'm excited about Disclosure Day. I am. I really loved the trailer. I thought it was great. It wasn't exactly what I wanted from it. I was I was hoping it was going to be like something that was linking itself to one of the previous Spielberg sci-fis, and that's why everything was massively under wraps. But it wasn't. It looks like it's its own thing. But that's not a bad thing because he's 3 for 3 at the moment in terms of Alien, movies, War of the Worlds, Close Encounters, and E.T. So I trust him with this. I think it looks great. You think the Thog soundtrack trumps any Halloween? I probably agree with you on that, Gilly. Good to see you, mate. I love the Fog soundtrack. It's brilliant. Best horror film of the 2020s. I don't know. We may have had it this year in those 3 I talked about: Weapons, Sinners, or Bring Her Back. Could be. Or it could be one that's coming out in January. Could be that one behind me there. Jordan says, howdy Darren, I see you got your camera fixed, still working with a ZV-10 II, looks good. Yes, I am, yeah. That was really weird. I don't know why it froze. And like the power, I unplugged the power and everything. There was no battery in it, but yet the viewfinder still had my image on it, which freaked me out. Shouldn't be doing anything. Yeah, it sometimes overheats and in this room. The camera is known for when you have the camera switched to 4K 60 frames, the camera's only designed to shoot for a certain period of time. And when I've got it on for 2 hours, I have to have a fan pointing at it, cooling it down. And sometimes, it's not enough and it just shuts down. When you've got the lights on in here and, the computer, I've got my server at the side of me here and everything. And the room gets really hot. And so from time to time, the camera just totally fucking falls over. Ah, dear. Myers fan says, Lost Bus was my favorite non-horror of the year. Outstanding flick. It is. It is good. It is really good. Brandon says, for me, top 5 films of the last 25 years are No Country for Old Men, Moonlight, Whiplash, what a film. That was one of ours one of Sony's in the UK. It was terrific. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that one as well. Yeah. Great films there. All of them are brilliant. Paul Greengrass is obsessed with shaky cam. Yeah, he's kind of a bit more restrained on this one because, like most of his films, like with Captain Phillips, you're in a close environment with Tom Hanks all the time. With what's the other one? United 93, again a really close environment. The Bourne films, he really zoomed in on that because the action, the fight scenes, he wanted you to feel like you were part of them. But with The Lost Bus, because it's a movie that's got a lot of scale and it's about the California wildfires, he tends to pull back. And so there's a bit of shaky cam in there, but it's not as apparent as it is in a lot of his films. Chester says, Darren, have you seen the new Silent Night, Deadly Night with Ryan Campbell? I have. I went to a screening fairly recently. I thought it was okay. I wasn't blown away, but I thought it was okay. I will watch it again. Darts, what the fuck? What's wrong with darts? Huge over here. Good old Alan Howarth. Nothing like charging £60 for a soundtrack on CD. Yeah, that was it. Dave and I watched his Q&A for The Love of Horror, and it was a great Q&A. He was really informative. And then he did a set in the evening, and that was great as well. Although watching him undo all his stuff and unplug his keyboards and put them all back in their boxes was a bit awkward. But anyway, he said, come over and see me. I've got some soundtracks for sale over there. And we went over, and there was £60 for a CD of Halloween 4 or Halloween 6 or whatever he had there. 5, I think. I'm paying £60 for those. Van Gerwen just won, did he? Oh, great. Okay, cool. Darren, I loved your story about the Piranha CD. Yeah, that was great. That's the guy I'm spending Christmas with. For those of you that didn't see it, I was umming and ahhing about buying a Piranha CD on eBay, the original soundtrack. There was a limited run of 1,000 done about 10 years ago or something, and it came up on eBay for about £80, and I was kind of hovering over it, and I was talking to my mate and said, I've seen this, I don't know whether to buy it or not, blah blah blah. Anyway, I decided one morning I'm going to buy it. I went on there, it had gone. 2 days later it turned up in my letterbox, and I was like, did I buy that when I was drunk or something? Did I buy it and forget? And I rang my mate and said, weird things just happened. This Piranha CDs turned up in my letterbox, and I don't even remember buying it. And he went, yeah, I bought it for you because I was so fucking sick and tired of you umming and ahhing about it. He said, I went and bought it for you. Oh, thanks. Cheers. Good friend. James says, I've been waiting for the Student Bodies Blu-ray from Diabolic. Have you received yours yet after your special goodies arrived? Student Bodies, no, I didn't order that. I didn't order Student Bodies. I'm not a fan of Student Bodies. But I did see that it was floating around. What's your favorite iteration of Nosferatu? I think I really liked Egger's version. I think. Yeah, I really liked it. I thought it looked and sounded spectacular. really gives your you know your system a workout. Does that film? It looks incredible, and the voice when he starts talking. If you've got a good sub and surrounds and everything, it's terrifying on a 5.1 on an Atmos system. So yeah, so I'm going to say the more recent one. Wraith says, do you think you'll pick up the 4K physical media book of the Hellraiser remake? I doubt it. No, probably not. I mean, I enjoyed it, but it's not something I'm interested in. But I'm not a huge fan of the Hell. I like the first two, push the first three Hellraiser movies, but that's it. I have been watching, because I backed In Search of Darkness 1995 to 1999. 95? Let's see. 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that's it. And they talk a bit of Hellraiser on there because Bloodline, I think it was, came out in 95 or 96. And what's his face? Doug Bradley talks about it like it's the second coming, that film. I thought it was terrible. It's but the documentary is 6.5 hours long. I think I've done the first 2 hours of it already, but boy, is there some shite on it. There really is. I love the documentaries, I really do, but there is some utter crap. I mean, we were really struggling for decent horror movies in the 90s. And, you know, for them to talk for 6.5 hours about the 5 years between 95 and 99, where I can probably only name 10 off the top of my head at the push right now without Googling it, for them to fill a whole episode of maybe 100 and 150 horror films or something along those lines, can't remember how many it is now, is really digging deep and coming up with nonsense you've never heard of. So it's interesting. I find it really interesting, and the production values of the documentary are really good, but boy, I mean, they struggle. And then what gets me is these documentaries, they've managed to do 90 to 94 or 95. Literally, the two of them together are 12 hours. But yet the first, like the 80s ones that they did, I think together those two are like 7 hours or something. And they had way more horror movies than the 90s did. So it's going to be a slog to get through it. I've taken a break from it now until after Christmas, I think. Did you catch One Battle After Another this year? I did. That's the last film I saw in the cinema, actually. Well, the last film that I went in my own time to see in the cinema. Did you catch the One Battle? Yeah, I did. I enjoyed it. It was good. Most anticipated 2026 release on 4K is Arrow Salem's Lot. Yeah, I've pre-ordered that already. Hey, Zara. Good to see you in here. Teal Kit says, I love Phantasm so much to the point when I first watched the first three, it automatically entered my number 2 spot behind Halloween. It's that good and a very underrated franchise. Oh, yeah, it's a odd franchise. I wouldn't say it's underrated. Yeah, I struggle with anything past Phantasm 2. Flavaretti Bonanno says, I never hear anything about my favorite horror movie ever that traumatized me as a kid and still creeps me out today. Superman 3, that bloody robot woman, that was terrifying. I had a choice as a kid, and I think I may have told this story on the Slaughtered Lamb, that my friend's mum turned around to us and said, right, you can either watch Return of the Jedi or Superman 3. Those were the two films out at the cinema at the time. And I must admit, I stayed loyal to the Superman franchise, and went to see Superman 3. And it was fine. It's okay. But that moment, what's her name? Bess? I can't remember her name now. Tess, is it? The character? When she gets... It's Ross the Boss's sister, I know that. She gets sucked into the computer and comes out as that kind of cyborg type thing. Horrifying. I did a YouTube short about it a little while ago and put it on TikTok, and it went mental. So many people were agreeing with me on it, how it is one of the most terrifying things you will see in a kid's movie. I absolutely agree with that. James says, my top 3 films of all time: Tootsie, Stand By Me, and American Graffiti. Good movies, all of them. Good movies. Weapons in your bottom 5 of that. I know you find it overrated. Paul H says, Downey, you still recommended classics to that end. Yeah, he's doing all right. He's doing all right. God, you remembered that. He's doing okay. Wraith says, in the last 25 years, The Dark Knight and Inception. Yeah, good. 2 great movies. 2 really cool movies. One of my top films this year, new to me, is the Dirk Benedict film Snake, I think it was called in a lot of territories as well. I recommended it to Zara because Zara's a big fan of Tusk. And I think Tusk took a lot of influence from, if any of you have seen it. Inception never worked for me, says Tony. Tried to be too clever, just like Tenet. Tenet. The COVID movie, Tenet. Disclosure Day is a sequel to E.T. That would be great. If that happens, I'd be happy. Just put him in it somewhere, please. Facts, I think Weapon is the top contender of the 2020s horror, says Teal Kit. Brandon says Halloween is more effective music, but The Fog is a more sophisticated and beautiful score. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Hey, Liana. Liana says, Strange Darling and Pearl are some of my favorites. Strange Darling, that was a great film. That was a really good film. That was the one that's chopped up into 5 parts and they play them in different orders, right? Yeah, that's a great movie. I'd forgotten about that. And Pearl as well. Pearl I really liked. And I got the Second Sight Pearl and Maxine box set up there. I just hope they get round to doing X as well, the Second Sight. Tealka says, best horror soundtrack, my opinion. Freddy vs. Jason, Queen of the Damned, House of Wax, and Phantasm, to name a few. Well, on the video, I gave, well, certainly the best horror soundtrack edition that I've got is the David Gordon Green Halloween box set, which is just terrific. And Jaws as well. The new Jaws 50th anniversary is a good old and a really nice vinyl. Myers fan says, did a Rob Reiner triple this week? Stand By Me, Misery, and A Few Good Men. Really underrated director. Understated, you said. Sorry, understated. Yeah, all of his films. He had such a great run from Spinal Tap onwards throughout the 80s and early 90s. Terrific. And then Andrew follows it with Paul Greengrass did some amazing World in Action documentaries. Did he really? Did he do World in Action? I didn't realize that. Okay. Which is the 4K that's impressed you the most with its picture and sound? Again, Nigel and I are going to do an episode of our favorite releases of this year of the 4K or Blu-ray, whichever ones we want to talk about. But I think a good contender for that is quite possibly Dirty Harry. The picture quality on Dirty Harry and the sound as well is just phenomenal. How they got a movie that's 55 years old. No, when was Dirty Harry? 73, 71, 73? Trying to remember now. Over 50 years anyway. Over 50 years old. To look like it does is just insane. Those Warner Brothers releases this last year with Lethal Weapon, Dirty Harry, even Elm Street last year, all of them have been terrific. Really, really good. Sans has a very contagious laugh. Thank you. Brandon Collins says, I really like seeing directors with a distinct style do something different like David Lynch did with The Straight Story. That's something Wes Anderson seems completely incapable. I can't do with Wes Anderson. I can't do. I mean, I appreciate that he has a certain style, but it just makes my teeth itch. All those covers with people stood bolt upright on them and everything. Go home. Hey Darren, Merry Christmas. Have a great one and thanks for the great content. Special shout out to Hellraiser 2. That is 37 years old today. Is it really today? 37 years old? My God, I wouldn't see that at the cinema. Hellbound, the Odeon Bradford. I'm not sure I was legitimately old enough to go and see it, but I did. I saw it in the cinema. It was around the same time I went to see Darkman and maybe Darkman. What else was there? There was a few that I went to see in the same. Maybe Return of the Living Dead too. I'm not sure. Wows is such an awesome film. Wows? Oh, Wolf of Wall Street. Right, okay. Wordy Word says, my favorite non-horror box set I own is the Bruce Lee Golden Harvest 10-disc set. Absolutely love it, and it's doubled in price. Yeah, this is what happens nowadays. These things do. I mean, they do these limited runs of them, and you just... I mean, there's a lot of scalpers out there who just want to buy them and sell them, but I remember when the Blair Witch special edition that Second Sighted sold out, it was going for a fortune on eBay. Gillian Zara falling out. Tealkit says, I liked everything about Nosferatu besides the mustache. Like, what the fuck? I don't know. I thought he just had to do something different with it so it didn't look like, you know, because the Klaus Kinski and the original, you know, 1920s version all look very similar in those. And then you had Salem's Lot where Barlow looked like those as well. I think it was good that he did something a bit different. I think it kind of, yeah. I thought it was a nice little touch, to be honest. Hey Eli, good to see you. James says, I'm torn on the upcoming Friday the 13th series. Will it help or hinder any future movie production? I don't think it will. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, the TV's so good these days that you know, they're kind of on a par, TV productions and movie productions. There's a lot of things that have certainly it hasn't or has it? I'm just trying to think now whether I mean, the sheer volume of Marvel and Star Wars content may have hindered the theatrical stuff slightly, because you watch some of the stuff on the TV and there's no difference in the production values at all. So people can be of a mindset of, well, why should I go and see this film in the cinema if it's on the same sort of qualities on Disney Plus or whatever? And I think the sheer volume that they've made on those two, on Marvel and Star Wars, may have had an impact. But I don't think one series about Pamela is gonna really hurt them making a Friday the 13th movie. I don't think so. Was the new In Search an easier watch than the last? Well, I've only got 2 hours into it, and it's just, there's a lot of crap on there. There really is, but you know, it's always interesting to listen to. Eli says, I just got the digital download of the new In Search of Darkness edition. I am looking forward to. I backed the Slasher Trash one that they did as well, so that's coming next year, I think. That should be fun to watch. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, Hellraiser Bloodline was directed by Alan Smithy. That says, oh, yeah, it was. I can't remember who was the original director. The Weinsteins interfered so much, he just said, right, I don't want anything to do with this, and so he walked away from it, and that's why the Alan Smithy's name's on there. Oh, it was was it Joe Chappelle who did Was it Joe Chappelle? I think it was. Yeah, from Halloween. Do we really need to hear James, Janice, and Felissa Rose talk about the relic? To be fair, they're not. The relic section's actually pretty good. What's the American Wolf in London box? Oh, that is... it's a NECA thing that I got last year, I think, or the year before, of David and Jack. There you go. Pretty cool. Never opened it. It's just, and my Halloween novels hiding behind it. Had that years. Had that since I was a kid. And it's come everywhere with me. I actually own 2 copies at one stage, but I don't know what I did with the other one. It's probably lying around. The other thing that I've got as well, which is the Making of Superman novel, which is a great read. That's in the loft somewhere. And that's got to be 45 years old now or something like that. Picking Superman 3 over Jedi. I was being loyal to Christopher Reeve, I think. Strange Darling and Companion were good from last year, says Brett. Yeah, they were great. Am I a little bit behind on the chat here? Superman 3 is everything Batman Returns was accused of. Evil Superman and that robot lady. Brandon says Tusk is underrated. Love that film. I didn't like Tusk. Do you think we'll ever get a sequel to Malignant or The Summer of... That's a bizarre couple of films to it. Summer of '84, I doubt. Malignant, I doubt as well, because Malignant was a bit of a... Didn't do too well because it was released in COVID, wasn't it? And I think it was released simultaneously on streaming at the same time. So I doubt that there's any appetite for a sequel for that. Malignant was fantastic, and there's no sequel, and and it bombed. Yeah, that's right, Kingslayer. Tenebrae on vinyl is superb, and Creepers. Yeah, I'd love a Tenebrae vinyl. It's a great soundtrack. It's Tenebrae. Dean Maloney says, "Is TSL coming back soon?" Yeah, they're possibly in the new year. I'm not sure when. I'm sure we will do something. It won't be back like it was previously, I'm sure, because it was just it was so much work for us. And we did it for 5 years. It was like 800 episodes there. And so you get to the point where it's difficult to do as well because of the time difference. Like Frank's obviously 5 hours behind me and has a lot of responsibilities in terms of his family and everything. And it just became difficult for us to maintain a level that was, I thought, was value for money for our members. And so we took the decision to kill the membership, take a break, re-evaluate it in the new year, and then we'll see what we do. But maybe we'll just, I don't know, maybe we'll just do it once a month or something like that. We'll see, but I'm quite sure it won't be back to 2 to 3 times a week because it was becoming unsustainable. So, yeah. But I'm sure we'll do something. I'm pretty sure we'll do something. Brandon says the best looking 4K I've ever seen is The Shining. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I had a look at the Vault box set I've got down there, and it was pretty impressive. Again, Warner Brothers, they did the Poltergeist one as well, which was terrific. Taxi Driver, I think there is a 4K of Taxi Driver. I'm pretty sure there is. Yeah, he did the one about the H blocks in Ireland back in the 80s. That's his filmmaking, school-making documentaries for UK. Oh, okay, right. Paul Greengrass. Anime Night says, I have a horror question about Jigsaw. Did you know the 5 hints that the film took place before the first film until the end? Did you know the 5 hints that the film took place before the first film until the end? Did you know the 5 hints? No, I didn't. I see what you're saying now. No, I didn't. I've only seen. I must admit, I've only seen Jigsaw. I've only seen all the Saw films. I think probably once. I do like them, and it was quite cool back in the 2000s, early 2000s. That annual Saw film, going along to see it every October. You know, Lionsgate owned Halloween's release. You know, the Halloween date in October with the Saw film for many years. And I thought the last one was really decent. I thought it was really good. That kind of. Did it sit between 1 and 2 or 2 and 3? I can't remember now. One or the other. And I thought Saw 3 was one of the better ones. But yeah, I always love his score as well. Just great music for those films. I know it's kind of a bit repetitive. A lot of the soundtrack albums sound pretty much the same. But you know, I have a few Saw tracks downloaded onto my phone. One of them called Shithole Theme. Which is a great Charlie Clouser track. Tony Foray says, I love Aliens in 4K. Gets a lot of hate because of the because of the Eat Cameron does it. But great for me and Terminator. Because of the Eat Cameron does for it. Okay, I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, Aliens on 4K looks good. It does get a lot of hate because of the post-production process that they used for Aliens on and True Lies. True Lies look dreadful in some parts. They used like an AI process, and some of the smoothing on Arnie's face looked just dreadful. But Terminator, I think that was 2024, wasn't it? Terminator looks insanely good, the original. So good. If you can pick up a copy of that on 4K, you'll be staggered at the quality of that. It really does look special. Yeah, I thought Taxi Driver was on 4K. I seem to remember it on my desk at work at one point. Yeah, The Thing's a great 4K as well. Have you seen the 2020 American film The Call with Tobin Bell, and what did you think of the ending? I haven't seen it. No, I know what you mean, but I haven't seen it. And Wraith says, I've hopefully had the 4K big box of The Shining for Christmas. I hope you get it as well, because it's great. I really liked it. With Wes Craven is Wes Anderson is just so damned idiosyncratic and specific. He fell in love with symmetry and irony and based his entire style around it. Yeah, my wife's a BAFTA member, and so we have a BAFTA hub where we can watch all the films to vote on and everything. And every year when it comes to the Wes Anderson one, I just come up here. I come and sit in here. She watches it on her own. I cannot do with it. I really can't abide his films. Horror Gilly says, my first film at the cinema was Raiders of the Lost Ark. I think it was 1981. Definitely wasn't old enough. You didn't see anything before Raiders of the Lost Ark, Gilly. I saw Star Wars in the cinema. I saw Superman and Star Trek. Star Trek was one of the worst cinema going experiences in my life. After seeing Star Wars, my parents took me to see Star Trek. Fucking boring. There's a load of people stood on like a chessboard for 2 hours. Oh, awful film. Andrew says, Darren, what's been your highlight of the Only Sans channel this year? And are you happy with how it's going? Yes, I am. I've really enjoyed it. I want to do more. I've enjoyed like building a community because it's not easy to do. And the run of episodes we did on the 80s horror was great fun. And it was so cool to see so many people engaging with that and coming back each time, each week. And it built and built and built. And I remember we've got 80 people in here at the moment. That's amazing. I remember that last episode that we did on the final that we did. And there were over 120 people watching. That just really makes me happy. So, it's tough. It's difficult to do a YouTube channel. It really is. But yeah, I think for me that was the peak this year, doing that. And I've really enjoyed doing the little documentary I'm working on at the moment. I've done a few of them so far. I did the Christmas slasher one and the video nasties one, and I really enjoy doing those. So that's what I want to try and do is a couple of those a month, a live a week, and then I want to also carry on with the Room 666, because the first episode I thought went really well, and like I say, I've got a few people lined up for future episodes, and hopefully we'll get that down to once a fortnight or something. It just depends on how work is as well, because there's a lot going on in the first quarter at my work. But yeah, no, I'm planning lots of new content, and hopefully, you know, as I said earlier, hopefully we'll. I know Frank mentioned on his stream a few weeks ago, maybe when Scream comes out, we'll do something on the Slaughtered Lamb. That could be fun. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Which film you've seen in theaters was the most packed? For me, it's Beetlejuice 2. Most packed? Oh my God. I mean, what's really interesting is like cinema screen sizes are now really small compared to what they used to be. And I remember when they made the capacity of the Odeon Leicester Square in London, they took it from something like 1,600 down to, I think it's around about 800 or 900 now, something like that. And we were all like, why did you do that? You know, it was a great big order. Because it hadn't sold out for over 20 years. So there's no point in having such a big auditorium. And if you look at all these boutique cinemas that are around now, they're all sort of 150 seats or less. So, you know, cinemas don't sell out like they used to do, unless you've got like a Wicked or an Avengers or something like that. But, you know, I prefer a more cozy, you know, sort of intimate auditorium than I do a big cavernous place. I mean, it's always great to go and see IMAX and things. But I remember, you know, as a kid, I remember queuing. Was it a Rambo film or something like that? I think it might have been First Blood Part 2 or Rambo 3 or something like that. I can't remember. And the queue was really long, and then we didn't get in, and so we had to just stand there until the next showing, because there was no pre-booking, there was no advance tickets or anything. We just had to wait for like 2.5 hours until the next showing started, and then go in after that. And that's what it used to be like. Batman, I remember just queuing around the block for when the '89 Batman came out. That's what you used to do. Nowadays, you just get your tickets, you get in, and that's it. It's fine. But before that, it was nuts trying to get into a big movie back in the 80s on the opening weekend. Shamrock says, Dara, oh, hey, Shamrock. Sorry, good to see you, buddy. I haven't seen you for ages. David says, Darren, did you buy the illustrated version of the Halloween novel? Do you know what? I could have kicked myself, because when I went to Halloween 45, they had it there for sale, like exclusive in advance of the release. And I should have bought it. I think Frank bought one. And I didn't buy it, and I should have done. And then I've just totally missed out. I ended up getting the kids one, the David Gordon Green Halloween kids book. Which is fun. But no, I didn't get the Curtis Richards one, the illustrated one. Kevin Yeager didn't walk from Hellraiser Bloodline. Joe Chappelle recut it to fit like 90 minutes rather than 2 hours. It was... Was it... So was it Kevin Yeager that directed it? Because I remember Doug Bradley saying that Joe Chappelle came in. Or maybe he came in and maybe he said he came in and fixed it. It could be Kingslayer. It could be. And Andrew Stevens said once a month would be a good idea for a TSL. I think so. I think that's probably the way to go. We've both got our own channels. Frank's, going in different direction with his. He's going to do some, like more of the things that he's interested in with comic books and things like that. So yeah, I think something like that would work well. We'll see. I'll hook up with Frank in the new year, and we'll have a chat about it. Oh, did I miss a super chat? I think I'm so far behind here. 1 second. Ronnie, was it Ronnie said, how often do you cut your toenails? I never even thought about, I don't know, once in 10 days or something like that? I don't know. I cut my nails more than I cut my toenails, I think. These grow up quick. Why am I telling you this? Thank you for the super chat, though, Ronnie. Thank you. Wraith UK says, what would you say are your favourite sequels? Mine would be Psycho 2, Exorcist 3, and Phantasm 2. I'd say Aliens, for one. Psycho 2 is probably another one. I mean, if we're doing horror, then I'd say Halloween 2 as well. I think Halloween 2 is a great sequel, great continuation. If we're talking movies, then like I think just movies in general, I think Lethal Weapon 2 is a brilliant sequel. I also think Superman 2 is a fantastic sequel, and obviously Empire Strikes Back. Flicks and Pick. Hey, David, how you doing? Good to see you, mate. TerraVision needs an upgraded release. It's got 88 films written all over it. That one. 4K would be nice, but I'd be happy with a Blu-ray and a nice collector's edition. TerraVision. Oh my! I don't even think I've seen. I remember the eye on the cover. I can't remember whether I've seen it or not. Brandon says the AI grain removal on True Lies is awful. Aliens and Terminator look great. They do. They do. The Thing 4K soundtrack is for shit. Which one? Are you talking the Studio Canal one, or the did Scream Factory do a 4K of The Thing? PK79 says, what are your thoughts on the Wolf Creek movies TV series? I'm a big fan and looking to Wolf Creek Legacy next year. Yes, I have watched the original film, I've seen the sequel, and I've seen the TV series as well, and I like them. I do like them. Wolf Creek Legacy, is that the third film or another TV series? Got the Terminator Steelbook on 4K, and it's stunning. It really is. You're right, it is. You've seen the new Silent Night, Deadly Night film. What do you think? If you have, yes, I have. I liked it. It was okay. I wouldn't go mad. I was disappointed that a lot of the trailer, a lot of the kind of the Santa kills were all part of a montage towards the end. That was a bit of a letdown. But I did like the fact that they went in there with a different idea, kind of like Dexter, I guess. So yeah, so I thought it was okay. Daz says, Darren, even Star Trek fans don't care for that first film. It gets good with 2. I love Star Trek 2. Star Trek 2 and 4, those are my favourites. Standing on a chessboard sounds like the first time seeing Tron. It was. I just remember people stood on like different spaces on like a grid or something. And it was that kind of bald lady. Yeah, it was just boring. I was like 7 or 8 years old, and I was like, what the f is this? Where's the lightsabers? Are you getting ready for a track meet? What the fuck are you wearing? Oh, I just put my hoodie on because it's thanks, Blake. What the fuck are you wearing? I've put my hoodie on because it's a bit chilly in here tonight. Actually, we're going on about the fact that it gets warm in here. At the start of the evening, it's actually really cold in here because this is the kind of attic that I'm in, and it's freezing outside at the moment. So, would you not do a watch along? Would I? Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of watch-alongs. I think we did some watch-alongs on TSL, and I kind of figured out a way of doing it and making it more interesting, which was to do a timeline of the film and have stills come up as you're watching it, so you know exactly where you are. And maybe I'll do that on here, but it's doing a watch-along. It's kind of like you're talking about the one thing for 2 hours, and I tune into so many YouTube channels who are doing watch-alongs, and it's just like I'm just watching you watch the film. Nobody's saying anything, and I've gone onto some YouTube channels, and there's like 4 people watching the film, and nobody's saying anything. And I just think I don't ever want to get to that point, whereas I'm watching a film and you're watching me. I need to be able to talk thoroughly about it for 2 hours, and to do that, I just feel like it's a hell of a lot of research you have to do, and to make it worthwhile, and also make it look on screen interesting, because you can't run the film, so I have to try and do something that's kind of close to doing that. Maybe we'll do one. I don't know. Maybe we'll do one in the new year, but it would have to be something I'm incredibly familiar with. I don't know how people do watch-alongs of films they've never seen before, because I'm trying to concentrate on the film, and also I've got to talk to you guys as well. The first film I remember seeing in theaters was The Thing. I was 4, and my parents took me because E.T. was sold out. Yeah, well, that would happen. It certainly wasn't going to be The Thing that sold out. Yeah, no, that's a good first movie to see. Down is up 76 says, do you have a favorite decade for horror films? Favorite director? Happy holidays for everyone, your family, and everyone in the chat. Thank you, buddy. I think it's certainly the 80s, but if I had to be specific about it, it would be 78 to mid 80s, I think. The slasher subgenre is my favorite genre, and so that's where the bulk of those movies, there's so many of them as well that came throughout that period. And as I say a lot of the time, I think like some of the films are terrible, they really are, but I love the story of the era and the backstory of the movies, and you know, as much as I love, or sometimes more than I love, the movies themselves. And that's why I like doing those kind of deep dive videos. And I've thought about, because I said to you guys the other day that I was going to do a documentary of 78 to 84, the golden age, and I'm still writing it. I'm still figuring out whether it's going to be easier to do a year at a time. But when you go to 79, there's not many slashers that came out in that year, and then when you get to 80, 81, that episode would be 10 times longer than the 79 one. So I was thinking about, do I do an episode for each kind of major movie and a few of the kind of deep dives as well? Maybe that's a way forward, but I'm writing it at the moment, so we'll see what happens over the coming weeks. Jaboni 60, and thank you for the super chat there. Down is up. Oh, you asked another couple of questions there, didn't you? Favorite directors are always going to be John Carpenter on that front. Just such an amazing run from the mid 70s through to the late 80s. Just unrivaled, I think. It's fantastic. Even though he wasn't commercially successful with most of his films, it was just an incredible run. Comparable to what Rob Reiner had, I think, in the 80s and early 90s in terms of the quality of the movies that he was putting out. Giovanni 66 says, Darren, did you happen, let me just get this disappear off screen. Whoop. Did you happen to pick up Arrow's release of The House with the Laughing Windows? Great giallo that leans heavily into horror and tension. I didn't, but I will make a note of that. Let me just write that down. House with the Laughing Windows. Thank you for that, because I do want to do something on giallo eventually. That might be a good one to include. Darren, who's going to win the college football play? I have what you honestly, Blake, grow up. I'm watching the darts. I have no idea what any of that stuff is, and you know that. Gilly says you and Zara need to do a Goonies show. Oof. No thanks. No thanks. Tony 4 says, first film I remember in the cinema was Superman. Also remember seeing Empire Strikes Back and The Black Hole. Yes, I saw The Black Hole as well. Great. And The Cat from Outer Space. Do you remember that? I saw that in the cinema. With Netflix potentially buying Warner, do you think this will fuck up future Arrow releases with them? Good question. I don't know. I don't know how long their deal is for. Whether it was just for a year or two, or who knows? Because the Netflix deal could take a long while to go through. And also, hadn't Paramount just gone back with another offer or something? Don't know. Interesting. We'll see how that pans out. New Beverly in LA sells out every week for old films and new. That's a different thing, though, isn't it? That's a very... that's the Tarantino one, right? You know, that's almost like a tourist attraction as well as a cinema. Remember seeing Back to the Future at the cinema and people were standing up at the back and in the aisles. Yeah, had that before. Had that, you know, people sitting on steps. I remember it's happened in our premieres as well, where we've kind of, not premieres, screenings where we've oversubscribed. People have been sat in the aisles and stuff in the past. Yeah. Darren, what is one question you don't want to be asked by subscribers in 2026? Do I bite my toenails? That would be horrific, wouldn't it? Make Shining comedy? I've seen a trailer where they do that, I think. I see that 20 years later poster in the back, which is next month. Which do you think will be better, Bone Temple or Silent Hill? Absolutely 100%, but the Bone Temple. Queued up to see Breakdance the movie. Good for you. Good for you. Paul says, hey dude, woke up this morning to the news of Adam the Woo passing. Total shock. He was a lovely guy. Yeah, I didn't really know of him. I didn't really watch his stuff. I knew of him just through the Sean Clark stuff. And the really weird thing was, I think he'd just done a video with Sean that was released the day that whatever happened. And also shout out to my friend Chris Stanley, Cosplay Chris, who has had a rough few days this week. Some of you may have seen what happened with him. You know, he's having a tough time. So shout out to him. I hope you start feeling better soon, mate, both of you. And yeah, I'm going to do something with Chris in the new year. But yeah, he's having a bit of a bad time at the moment. So I just wanted to give him a shout out. I stood in line for 5 hours to buy advance tickets to the Phantom Menace 3 weeks before opening night. Oh, jeez Christ. I know, because it came out late in the UK. I worked with people that flew over to the US to see it. Can you imagine that? The disappointment there. Myers fan says 28 years later was the busiest I've seen my local cinema for years. Probably over 60 people when it's usually 4 or 6. Yeah, it was a big opening weekend. It was big. Shamrock says, cheers, Darren. That's unfortunate. I've just been taking a break from YouTube recently. Need to catch up on your soundtrack episodes. Love my soundtracks. Yeah, they were good fun. I enjoyed jumping on with Nigel. It's always a good laugh. And we've got some other stuff planned as well. And his channel as well is great fun. Whenever you get, if you ever you get a chance to subscribe, go over there and see some of his stuff. He's very funny, very funny. Tony, me, and my friend got into breakdance battle with some suburban kids after a screening of Breaking. Wow. And Wraith says there's a work print version of Hellraiser Bloodline on the 4-box set from Arrow. Is there really? I have that somewhere. I'll check that out. Darren bites his toenails. Yeah, don't start that rumor. So with Sony acquiring Peanuts franchise, should we expect to see you in a Snoopy shirt? So listen, that was like music to my ears because I'm a huge Peanuts fan. I love, in fact, I watched the Charlie Brown Christmas episode Saturday, in fact. So I'm really happy about that. I mean, by the time they get around to making a film or something, I may not even be there. So we'll see. But yeah, it's good news. It's good news. Yeager directed most of it, and the Weinsteins did their usual thing, so he took his name off the credits, hence Alan Smithy being the director. Right, okay. I lived with a guy in college that bit his toenails. Nice. If you cut your toenails every 10 days, you're more werewolf than I am. The Beatles 114 says, hi, Only Sounds. Love your posters in the background. That one of Halloween 2 is sick. Yeah, that's not... I wish I could say that was an original, but it's not. It's just one that I bought online. And when it came, I was really pleased with the quality of it. It doesn't work too well in the light box because it's only printed on one side. The light boxes really work well when they're printed on both sides. You know, like the regular cinema one sheets. But yeah, it is a great poster. It's my favorite of the Halloween posters for sure. Third film supposedly due out next year of, not quite sure which one you were on about there. I have a life-size Creepshow ticket booth being made to order. Lights up, expected by Feb 6th. That should be fun. Wow. Excellent. Excellent. You might have already answered this, but what was your favorite horror movie? Some days The Fog, some days Halloween. Watch-alongs are tough. Yeah, they are. They are. I'm not a massive fan. And I don't want to be one of those channels where you're just kind of watching me watching a film. That's everything I try to avoid. Myers fan says all 1982 4K releases need Arrow to knock one out of the OG sound with the OG sound. True Lies 4K, Googly Eyes, and Mental. Yeah. All 1982 4K. You mean The Thing? Okay, I think you're talking The Thing there. It's not freezing down. You try living, I don't know where you live, but I live right near the East Coast. I live on the coast. The beach is, you can see it from my window, and it's freezing of an evening. Count says, well, I'm hearing my Santa Jaws is coming into, I'm wearing my Santa Jaws is coming to town sweatshirt right now. Ho, ho, ho. Yeah, Santa Jaws is a thing, isn't it? It's a film. Some YouTubers used to sleep during watch-alongs. Really? Watch-alongs don't work for me, says Tony Four Eyes. Never done a watch-along yet. I think, you know, a lot of people go to... what's that other thing? I tried it one time. I can't... It's... Discord? Discord. Yeah, a lot of people go on there because you can actually run the film, but... it's just another platform that I don't need. And like I say, if I was a fan of doing watch-alongs, then maybe we'd do that. But it doesn't work for me, really. I found an original Halloween 2 poster similar to yours at the community center flea market on my block. $15. Wow. Really? Original? That's amazing. Darren, our Jaws 2 watch along was the best. Yes, that was good. That was one of the ones that really worked because David came on and with David being a font of all knowledge about Jaws, he was able to talk through the whole film and know pretty much everything about it. So that was a really good watch along. That really worked. Did that? That was over on TSL Movie Podcast. First film at the cinema, King Kong remake, 76. And the second, Star Wars. And the third, Popeye. I saw Popeye in the cinema. I did. Gates of Hell, one sheet, same spot. My favourite TSL watch-along was Friday the 13th 4 when I derailed everything by joking that Dick Warlock did the falling out the window stunt. Darren thought I was serious and hilarity ensued. Yeah, I vaguely remember that. I vaguely remember it. That's the thing, you know. Because I don't, people say to you, do you listen back to the episodes that you've done? And I never, because I edit them together, never go back and listen to them. And then people will say, or comment on videos that are a few years old, and I don't know what they're talking about. I honestly don't know what they're talking about, because when you've done, I think it's 800 episodes or something along those lines with DSL, it's so difficult to remember everything you've said and talked about and laughed about and joked about, and you know, it's so difficult to recall things. Every now and again, I'll just, if someone drops a comment that I don't understand, I'll pop onto the episode and I'll try and figure out what they're talking about. But yeah, it's difficult. Watch-alongs are just feature-length Gogglebox. I would rather watch Popeye the Slayer Man on a loop. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I remember sneaking into Quest for Fire as a 10-year-old. Bloody hell. I remember seeing that on VHS. Paul says, not sure what my first film was, but I've seen, it may have been Jaws. I was 5. We were on wooden chairs in a small cinema on holiday, and I spent most of my time with my hands over my eyes saying, has it gone yet? And then all these years later, mate, you're a super fan. I noticed all the Reiner tributes skipped north. Very good. Very good. Maya says, my parents loved movies and passed that on to all their kids. I got to see many great films at an inappropriate age. Yeah, I don't know what. I think, like, my mum and dad liked movies, but they weren't obsessed with movies like I became. I think it was the video shop that got me into films as much as I am. I was just mesmerized by it. We had quite a lot in our area. Paul in the chat will remember this. We had maybe, I don't know, in Shipley alone, we maybe had 4 or 5 different video stores. They were everywhere on the street. And if it wasn't a purpose-built video store, you would have videos on rental in newsagents and corner shops and places like that. So it was always an adventure going into these places. And it was all like, nowadays you explain to kids that, you know, nowadays you've got it so good because you've got Netflix on demand. Well, when I was a kid, like, some video shops only had 1 copy of each film, and someone else might have it. So you have to wait and hang around until they brought, oh, it's due back in today. And then I'd be like hanging around a video shop for hours on end, waiting for that person to come back and drop that VHS back that you wanted. And I was just, you know, from then onwards, I was just lucky after that to end up having a career in the film industry. So yeah, it wasn't something that was, you know, passed down to me, I don't think. And I know my dad took me to the cinema. I think it was just something to do rather than you must learn about films, you know. It wasn't anything like that. It was just he enjoyed, you know, Star Wars, and so did I, and Superman and things. You know, he was young. My dad was, you know, when I was born, my dad was 20. My mum was like 17. They were really 17, 18. They were really young parents. And so, yeah, part of their life would have been going to the cinema, but they weren't huge film buffs. They're just something that just came with time with me, I think. I've tried again, but still hate the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Sorry. Wow. Oh, dear. Weirdest experience for me was watching The Matrix and the film reel snapping halfway through the movie. My friends turning to me as I'd seen it on a copy. Yeah, that was a nightmare because I first 10 years of my career were as a projectionist. 10, maybe more, maybe 11 years. And if that ever happened, it was a nightmare. It was. Or if you dropped a film, that was even worse. A film snapping was easily sorted, but if you dropped one when you're moving it from screen to screen, that was just, oh, you were lucky if you could get it back together. No Paul Dano movies at the New Beverly. Or Lillard. Once Were Warriors had sellouts for weeks in New Zealand. I'm not surprised. That's a terrific film. Great film. Jake the Marsh. He died, didn't he? The guy who played him died. I think he did. My dad took me to Slumber Party Massacre and House by the Cemetery at the drive-in when I was preteen. House by the Cemetery? Really? Oh my god. Dean says, will you be going to H50? Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. I met so many good people over at H50. It'd be really good to hook up with them again. Yeah, I would hope so. If you could see an old film on the cinema that you watched initially on VHS that you loved, what would you pick? If you could see an old film on the cinema that you watched initially on VHS, well, I kind of did. So basically, Flash Gordon, one of my favorite films, I saw at the cinema as a kid, and no, I saw that at cinema. What I was going to tell you the story was that for my 50th birthday, my wife rented a cinema, and we went away to a little coastal village in Cornwall, and she rented a cinema and sat me down, and there was a few friends in there as well, and put Flash Gordon on for me for my 50th birthday, which was amazing. Really cool. A little boutique cinema, you know, we had drinks and popcorn in there and everything. But it was great. Just, she didn't tell me what it was. It just started with that Universal logo and the Clytus, I'm bored. So that was cool. Flix Pixel says, I queued for Superman, The Quest for Peace at the cinema. I took my sister to see that at the cinema as well. Don't regret it. I liked it. Also had a bag of Revels, and yes, I like the coffee ones. Andrew says, Tony, I went to see Back to the Future on opening night, having walked nearly 4 miles, and it was sold out. The twat attendant wouldn't let me and my mate sit on the stairs, so we had to do it all again. Thank you, Beatles. Appreciate that. Folks, if you haven't, just like the Beatles has done it, if you haven't subscribed, then maybe consider it, and throw a like on the channel as well. And also, the new thing, hype. If you hype, everybody's got the facility. If you've got a YouTube account, everybody has the facility to hype videos. So if you wouldn't mind doing that as well, that would be terrific. You only get 3 chances in a week to hype a video. So, but yeah, that'd really help push this out there. Oh, I'm getting really behind here. Still 80 people here. That's really cool. 81 people. Trade 1 John Carpenter directed movie for 1 Wes Craven directed movie. They switched directors. What you mean? You want me to see a? Hang on a minute. You want me to take a John Carpenter film and have Wes Craven direct it? Which one would I choose? Is that what you're saying? And the other way around. Okay, I would swap. Memoirs of an Invisible Man with Wes Craven, and Vampire in Brooklyn. John Carpenter can direct that. Let's see how that goes. See if it's any better. The Hysteria continues to do excellent pre-recorded watch-alongs. Okay. Pre-recorded. Okay, that's interesting. Logan is live. I plan on buying the Jaws 50th anniversary vinyl and the Halloween vinyl that Nigel showed with Michael's face looking through the rainy window tonight. Yeah, that's a beautiful one with that kind of spot glossing water smear on there. Tealkit says, I've seen a 24-hour watch-along for a franchise before, a group of 4 to 5 people. That might be ATG and AT, the guys in Ronnie and Blake. They did all, I think they did all 13 Friday the 13th films back to back, because I joined them for one of them. I think I joined them for, I can't remember, part 6, something like that. Chester says, Darren, question, have you ever listened to the commentary of Halloween 2? Ever noticed that Howarth wasn't mentioned about doing the score? Really? Oh, I have listened to it, but it's a long time since. Paul says, Darren, can you remember what the original song on the radio in The Thing was before they changed it to Superstitious for copyright reasons? Oh, I remember the VHS getting recalled because of it. I can't remember what the song was now. I can't. James says, very first movie I remember seeing was Moonraker. That's not the best Bond film to go into as your first film. Who's your best Bond? Roger Moore for me. I Roger Moore because I grew up with him, but also I like Daniel Craig because I got to work with 4 of those movies. Casino, Skyfall, Spectre, and Quantum of Solace. So that's kind of a big, a huge part of my career, 10 years or so. Yeah, so that was cool. But Roger Moore was always Bond for me when I was growing up. And I actually like Timothy Dalton as well, but I think Roger Moore and Daniel Craig. The Beatles says, I'm pretty sure the first movie I saw at the cinema was The Parent Trap. Definitely a Lindsay Lohan remake. And then Daz ranks his Bonds: Moore, Connery, Dalton, Craig, Brosnan, Lazenby. I don't think we've ever had a bad Bond. That's the thing. So it's kind of like, I think, like with the Halloween movies, you're always going to gravitate to the one that you saw first, or the one that was around when you were kind of, first started watching horror films, or the first one you saw in the cinema. There are lots of people out there who Halloween 6 is my favorite. It's the first one I saw. Frank, Halloween 4 is his favorite because it's the first one he saw. But the first Halloween was me. And the first Bond film I think I saw was I probably Live and Let Die, I think. But I just remember all those Roger Moore films being on the TV when I was growing up as a kid. Timothy Dalton was terrific as Bond. I wish we could have had 1 or 2 more films with him. And the ship's scranbag. The ship's scranbag. My brother snuck me in to watch Spawn as I wasn't quite old enough. Yeah, I was never really a fan of Spawn. It does have his fan base, though. Tony, is this about the hype? So it won't show on live until tomorrow. You'll be able to hype any videos from the last 7 days. Refresh of 3 is on Mondays. Yeah, you get your 3 hypes on a Monday. Rabid takes place during the Christmas period. Does it really? I can't remember that. Anyone who can watch Friday the 13th for 13 movies in a row are very special people. I did parts 1 to 5 at a cinema all night at underage, all first time watches. That's pretty good going. I think if you can watch all the first 5 back to back, it's quite a feat. Darren, any plans to come over to the States before H50? There's every chance, I think. Quite possibly. Yeah, I would have thought so. We're thinking about maybe doing Canada next year. So, fairly close. Rabid has the creepiest poster, yeah. It's the girl in the slumped in she in the shower, I think. Superstition was the original song, but they had to put in One Chain by the Four Tops for the VHS release. And then did it go back to Superstition? Okay. Hey Colin, good to see you, mate. He says, hey folks, a little bit late to the party. That's me off now for 3 days. Excellent. Thank Christ, that was brutal 2 weeks in work. I feel like a soggy pair of tramps Y-fronts by this time. Time to relax. Now that's a good film. First cinema going experience was Condor Man in 1981. I loved Condor Man. I thought it was a great fun film. Michael Crawford. Oliver Reed as the villain. Yeah, Donita saying that her first film. Hey, Donita, good to see you. Was Live and Let Die as well. Best Bond stunt. Ooh. Let me think on that. Maybe the... well, I think obviously the running across the gators is pretty special. I don't know. There's a few in the one in Spectre with the plane when it does the 360 is pretty good. Oh, sorry, the helicopter, not the plane that does the 360. Yeah, there's some great ones. Oh, there's the one in I think it is it Skyfall or Casino. I'm trying to think. No, it's Casino because it's Eva Green who's tied to the tied up on the road, and the Aston Martin just misses her head. It goes onto two wheels and just misses her head. And I know they actually did that. So yeah, there's some great ones. There really is. I mean, I love some of the stuff in. Well, Octopussy is one of my favorite. I'm not ashamed to say it. Octopussy is one of my favorite James Bond movies. I think it's just such good fun all the way through. Condor Man 4K inevitable. What's the best Christmas film? Deary me. I've watched a few this year. We watched Christmas Vacation. We watched Gremlins the other night as well. I don't know. I don't know on that one. Tough one. There are so many good ones. They're all on a kind of similar level, I think. James says, I'm going to the States next October for a month. Looking forward to Salem and a few horror nights. Excellent. That sounds cool. And K-Rock, hey K-Rock, says, I want to try to make it to H50 to meet Darren and Frank. Meeting the Brit, the beard is as important as Atkins, Carpenter and Curtis for me. If they make it. If they make it. And Myers fan says, one more shift for me. Finish on Christmas morning. Oof. Paul says, I've never watched Rabid. Have it on disc somewhere. It's good. Rick says, I watched the first 8 Friday the 13th films back to back at the Prince Charles Cinema at Halloween a couple of years ago. That was awesome. Yeah, the Prince Charles is the best place to see those kind of movies. And Bond films are Hangover Cure Gold. Best Bond stunt is the Union Jack power. Yeah, actually, that's a good one as well. The Spy Who Loved Me. I forgot about that one because it kind of almost goes wrong at one point because his ski gets caught in the actual shoot, I think. Car looping Golden Gun. Yeah, that's a good one. And Pat's here as well. Hey, Pat, are you watching any Christmas horror between now and Christmas? I always watch Black Christmas and Christmas Evil. I have watched plenty of Christmas horror this month because of the Christmas horror episodes that I did. But I'm done now, I think, with movie watching until probably the 28th. Plus, it's getting in the way of the darts. Yeah, my old Elm Street... Sorry. Yeah, my old Elm Street 2 VHS ended on the film score and not the music that used now. Oh, is it changed on Elm Street 2 as well? Wow. Have Condor Man on disc, says Paul. Barbara Carrera was very nice. The bungee jumping GoldenEye, that's a good one as well. Oh, the tank chase as well. I always think, in terms of set pieces, I always think the tank chase is great fun, but also the opening scene in Casino Royale, not the toilet scene, not the fight in the toilets, but the scene in, are they in Mogadishu, I think? And you've got that building site, and there's that free runner going through. Daniel Craig's chasing him. It's the bit when he leaps from one crane to another. And the way he crashes into it as he lands on it, it looks so painful. Chester says, did you see Prince of Darkness in the theatre when it came out in 1987? I love Prince of Darkness. No, I didn't actually. I saw it on VHS. It was an 18, so I wasn't quite old enough to go and see it when it came out. Paul says, that was awesome for your 50th. I saw Flash Gordon at Unit 4 in Shipley. Me too. I can still remember the Warlords of Atlantis at the Earth's core double bill. Me too. Saw that there as well. Twice the Doug McClure. What? Who else could you want? Great in Humanoids from the Deep as well. Don't go to Salem in October. It's an absolute nightmare. No parking at all, and you'll never be able to use the bathroom. Cobra and Invasion USA are Xmas films. I guess they are, if you want to look at them that way. Calling and visiting Hope next year specifically, but Hope next year specifically for the First Blood locations, my all-time favorite action flick. That would be cool. That would be cool. And John Jones says, I missed some of the live because of the insanity at work. I need a drink big time. Get yourself a drink. Pull up a chair. Lethal Weapon is a Christmas film. It's goddamn Christmas. It's interesting, yeah, because I was late to the party with It's a Wonderful Life. I only watched it for the first time, I think 2 years ago. And when I was watching that, something was kind of telling me I'm familiar with this film for some reason. And it's because of Lethal Weapon, because I think in that final scene in the house, it's playing in the background, isn't it? When they crash the car through Murtaugh's house. Paul says, yeah, I can still remember seeing The Spy Who Loved Me at the cinema. Still one of my favorite Bond movies. That would be great to see in the cinema. I never saw that in the cinema. I think the first Bond I saw in the cinema was probably... I think I might have seen For Your Eyes Only in the cinema, if I remember right. Did you enjoy Gremlins anymore? I love the 80s small town Christmas feel, and Dick Miller is pretty. I did. I really did enjoy it a lot more. I don't know why. Maybe I don't know. I'm not sure why I enjoyed it more. I'm probably in a really good mood. We just sat down, had something to eat, had a couple of drinks, and watched it, and I really enjoyed it. And it's probably the most I've enjoyed it since I've been watching it. Watching darts is a gateway drug to watching Bocce? What's that? Bocce? Isn't that a language? Is it 3PO speaks? Best Christmas film I've watched is Home Alone, Scrooged, and Die Hard as well. Yeah, Die Hard came on the other night. Great film. Worst Bond stunt was the Mustang going on 2 wheels in Diamonds Are Forever, because it comes out of an alley on other wheels, and they inserted a cheesy close-up of Connery as if he did it himself. What was great about the Casino Royale chase was it showed that Craig's Bond was all about, without having to say a word, brute strength versus the nimble free runner. Yeah. Because there's a moment where Daniel Craig runs through a fucking wall. It's just like, isn't it like a plasterboard wall, and he just takes a run at it and breaks through it? James says, how the fuck did Silent Night, Deadly Night get a following? Absolutely 100% shit. Are you talking the original, or are you talking the remake? Or the original remake? The 2012 one? Any Blu-rays or 4Ks that you missed out on buying and are now too pricey or out of print that you missed out on? Oh, lots. Yeah. I mean, I would have loved to have had that the Warriors one that came out with that Arrow did a few years ago. I'd love to have had that. I've got the recent Paramount one, but it's not Atmos for some reason. So, what are your thoughts on the Tim Burton Sleepy Hollow and Sweeney Todd? Did you grow up with the original Broadway rendition of Sweeney Todd? I don't mind those films. I do own. I actually own both of them. I do. I don't mind them at all. I do like them. Reindeer Games is a Christmas movie. I think Reindeer Games was renamed in the UK, and it was called... It began with D. It was one word. Oh, God. I think it began with D. Oh, let me find out. Reindeer Games. Because they didn't release it at Christmas. Deception. It was called Deception in the UK. That's it. Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, I mean, Garbage Day is right. Oh, you're on about Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. Okay, yeah, it does have a following. It does have a following, but it is pretty terrible. Was it Scrooge? Is it Scrooge? Wait, I did watch Scrooge as well the other year, so maybe it was that. Maybe I'm getting the two confused. I just got the Lethal Weapon 4K box set. Have it lined up for tomorrow. Excellent. Myers fan says, I watch It's a Wonderful Life every Christmas day without fail. Beautiful 4K releases. So look, it's a great film. They're showing It's a Wonderful Life at my local independent tomorrow. Apparently they do it every Christmas Eve. Pop along. My first Bond in the cinema was A View to a Kill. I was too young to realise it was shit. And it was at the time he'd had a bit of a lift as well at old Rog. Hey Alan, just in from work. Have an amazing Christmas, everyone. Good to see you, mate. I was in Paris on holiday as a kid and saw them filming the car being cut in half gag at A View to a Kill. Oh wow, that's pretty cool. Hadn't a clue what was going on at the time though. Found out later that's what it was. Yeah, that's it's that Renault, isn't it, that gets cut in half. Terrific stuff. That's really cool. That's really cool that you saw that. And what I thought was really cool as well was that Pat, when we did the stream last week, Pat was saying that he saw some scenes from Christmas Evil being filmed when he was a kid. Now that's 1980, so maybe even 79 when he saw the filming. And off the back of the stream that I did last week when we were talking Christmas Evil, Pat reached out to Maggot, the lead star. I forget his first name now. The guy who plays the killer Santa Claus. Got back in touch with him straight away and did a live interview with him, which is on Pat's YouTube channel now. It was an interview for about an hour or something they did. Terrific stuff. He's 92, I think. Was he 92? Yeah, 92. And yeah, talking away about the movie and all his experiences on it. Terrific stuff. All that came together within the space of an hour. Chester says Silent Night, Deadly Night 1984 is a good Christmas horror. I last watched it on Tubi a couple of weeks ago. Good kills in it. Jack Cassane says don't sleep on Die Hard 2. The airport setting is so fun. And more of an Xmas feel in this one. I actually, out of the Die Hard films, I don't mind it. I think the first three are all pretty decent, but 1 and 3 are terrific, I think. I think 3 is such a good movie. I mean, they brought McTiernan back and everything, and just some of the stunt sequences in 3 are amazing. I saw a totally warped film on Tubi yesterday. No reason, just weird. There's one scene that will have all the guys howling in pain. No reason? Is that what it's called? What horror franchise should Mike Lee make? Oh, can you imagine? Bloody hell. Nothing. I can't. Can you imagine Mike Lee doing Mike Lee's The Fog? Or something like that. Bloody hell. The Holdovers will, in my opinion, become a Christmas staple in years to come. I think it's there already. I did a stream on another channel the other night. A guy called Muckman Movies who watches my channel. I did a stream on. I went on his channel and we talked, and I picked The Holdovers as one of my favorite Christmas movies. I think it's terrific. Mel Gibson in Fat Man, Santa Die Hard. I have Fat Man, but I've never watched it. Perhaps I should dig it out and have a watch. Darren, didn't you see the big airport sequence in Casino Royale being filmed? I did. I sat up all night on the set waiting for this stunt sequence where this baggage handling truck crashed into the fuselage of a plane. And I literally sat there for 9 hours waiting for it to happen, and it was so underwhelming. Which a lot of time these things are, because it's all done in post and things. And it was so underwhelming was this stunt. Then when I sat up all night and lost a night's sleep, fucking freezing cold, because all Bond films are filmed in the winter, ready for an October release. And they cut it out of the film. They didn't even put it in the film. So that was disappointing. I walked through the set of National Treasure without knowing. They went mad. Filmed outside Bank Station. Excellent. Parts of The Bounty were with Mel Gibson. Anthony Hopkins was filmed in a harbour here. Also, Whale Rider, just 20 minutes away. I like Whale Rider's a good film. Most disappointing physical release of the year. The Imprint Halloween pumpkin. Even though it's not going to come to fruition. They shot part of that. That was going to sit here. I've got space for it. It was going to be there, flickering away on my channel. Turns out, if I'd have bought it, if it had been delivered, it probably would have burnt the house down with the problems they were having with it. They shot part of the Bone Temple at the Richard Dunn Sports Centre. Didn't hear about it until after. Yeah, they did. And inside the swimming pool. It's an empty swimming pool. There's a few exterior shots as well. It's a good moment in the film. Died with a Vengeance is my favourite sequel. Great fun. Yeah, it's good. It's good. What's the highest amount of times you've seen a film in the cinemas? I saw Skyfall 45 times. I can tell you exactly. It wasn't me actually going to the cinema to watch it. It was actually through work. And it was not long after I'd started, and we did something in the region of 25 screenings of Black Hawk Down. And I attended all of them because it was before the film was complete. This was all pre-release and everything. BAFTA screenings, AMPAS screenings, press screenings, Q&As, premieres, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I think I clocked around about 25 screenings, including rehearsals as well. So, so it's probably around about 12 or 13 screenings and 12 or 13 rehearsals. But yes, I think it's the most I've ever watched one of the films I've been working with. Alan says, Darren, are you going for the Casino 4K Collector's Edition? Looks like a nice set. I did not want to reenact the baseball bat scene with one or two customers. You did want to reenact her. Yeah. I like Casino, so maybe I will. Maybe I'll take a look at that. Darren, have you seen the black and white version of Scrooge with Alistair Sim? It's still the best serious horror. Yes, I have. Yeah, I have. And Vadam's Vengeance, or Vadam's Vengeance, says, when will TSL return? Not sure yet. Maybe early part of next year. Maybe around Scream time. That's when Frank mentioned that he might, be up for doing something. I don't think it will ever come back in the form that we did it before, like 2-3 times a week. It was just too much pressure on both of us to do that. So, but it'd be nice to do something, I don't know, once a month, once every couple of months, just get together. We'll see what happens. But Scream may be a good launch point. Black Hawk Down is an awesome flick, probably Scott's last great flick. And Black Hawk Down is my favourite war movie. Never tires with rewatch. It's just relentless, isn't it? Such a tough story. The Netflix documentary is really interesting if you haven't seen it. I think it's like a 3-part documentary because the movie itself only concentrates on a certain period, whereas you get more of the before and after with the Netflix documentary. What's your favourite Stephen King adaptation? I'd say probably Misery or The Shining, maybe. Oh, The Long Walk I liked a lot. That was good. If you could make one vinyl trade with Nigel, what would it be? I shouldn't have to trade. He should give me one of those creep show. He's got fucking 10 of them. One of those creep show LPs. 10 creep show LPs. Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm quite happy with what I have, and you know, he's got a great collection. It's always a pleasure to have him showcase it. The definitive video nasties 1 and 2 are currently being redone for a Blu-ray release in 2020. Oh, really? Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. I'll be up for that, definitely. Because those chunky box sets that they put out are take up a bit of space. K-Rock says, our claim to fame as far as stuff shot in San Diego is Killer Tomatoes, Tentacles, and Slaughterhouse. That's all right. Why not? That's pretty good. I may have to try that 3-part doc. Yeah, no, it's good. It really is good. Alan said, do you have a film you religiously watch every Christmas? For me, it's The Great Escape with a nice glass of whiskey in honor of my late dad. That's cool. I like that. I mean, in terms of Christmas films, I mean, I talked about this on another channel the other day, because there are certain films that you associate with Christmas that aren't Christmas films that would be on all the time. And Great Escape is certainly one of them. It was always something like one of our dinosaurs is missing, or what else was there? There was a Digby or something like that. But yeah, I think in terms of a Christmas movie I religiously put on, I would say Christmas Vacation. At some point, we always put it on before, in the run up to Christmas, for sure. Was it 11 he had? Was it? Well, even more so, he can give me one. What is the most disturbing, unsettling film you've ever seen? Says Vadam's Vengeance. I know it's a cliche, but it would probably be... Oh, what would it be now? It would probably be a Serbian film, or... There's a film called The Bunny Game as well, which was pretty nasty, which I honestly don't know why I watched it, but yeah, one of those two, I think. Tony Forrest says, I always watch Moonraker at Christmas, always associate it with Grimbo. Yeah. Yeah, there were certain Bond films as well, aren't there, that they would always put on at Christmas. Okay, folks, I've been going for 2 hours. Thank you so much. Thoughts on the show, Doc Martin? Been watching it a lot lately. I can't stand it. Yeah, no, I'm not a fan of Doc Martin at all. Digby, the biggest dog in the world. Exactly. Do you remember that? Yeah, loved it as a kid. Absolutely. Folks, thank you so much for joining me tonight. It was a real pleasure to see so many of you. We had like 85, 90 people at one point. It's consistent as well. Look, still got 80 in there. Yeah, hope everybody has a fantastic Christmas. I will be back between Christmas and New Year, and probably just over New Year as well. Got a few things that I've got stored up and ready to go, and like I said, that episode with Barry on Room 666, that's coming. I'll probably do a live as well, I think. But yeah, I've got 2 weeks off, so certainly be pushing some stuff out. And yeah, happy Christmas to everybody. I will probably see you before the New Year, so I won't say Happy New Year just yet. But happy Christmas to you all. Oh, super chat, last minute, still giving you money. Thank you, Cody. Good to see you there. I saw you. Jesus, you were lifting some weights today on Instagram. Bloody hell, mate. Christ, you're going to be wider than you are tall soon, mate, if you carry on. Christ, those guns that you've got going on. This was a great stream, Darren. Merry Christmas, folks. See some of you over in Dave's stream. Yes, Dave's got a live stream in half an hour. I think it's a members stream, but he's going live in about 20 minutes, actually. Yeah. So, but thank you, folks. Thank you so much for joining me. Real pleasure to sit down and just kind of go backwards and forwards with you on this without any real topic. So many questions in there. Hope you all enjoyed it. I shall see you in the space between Christmas and New Year. Have a fantastic Christmas. Cheers.